Okay, so recently my friends were asking me, Corey, how do you make your food? How do you make such a good spaghetti? And I figured I'd just show you guys how I work my magic. So first thing you're gonna do, the most important part of any spaghetti dish is the meatballs. So I like to just grab a handful, you know, good handful, and you lay them on a baking sheet. Wait a minute, hold on, I gotta wash my hands first, right? I always forget that step. Yeah, just make sure you get them good. Make sure you wash them all nicely. You really want to get in there. You never really know what's on your hands. It's nothing good, probably. I'm not a scientist, though. So yeah, now that we've got that taken care of, you can just wipe your pants all over your hands. Make sure they're nice and dry. You don't want any of that wet stuff all over your food. And I guess I dropped a little bit of the meatballs, but that's okay. We've got more of them. We've got 120 of them. Just spread them all over there. A good rule of thumb when deciding on meatballs and how many to give each person is, I'm cooking for a personal one, and I usually like to go with, like, you know, a good 3 per person, and like that's about 3, I think. So I think that's cool. Then you just want to open the stove. You really want to be able to feel the heat, you know. Just shove it in there, you know. And that's about it. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's other important stuff, like I guess you want noodles or something, so you can just, I don't know, turn this on high, as high as it goes. And then like this will like turn red or something, I bet. Yeah, that's cool. The next part of cooking is noodles, obviously, as I already mentioned. The arguably most important part, other than the meatballs, of course. And what you want is you want spaghetti noodles. It'll say spaghetti right on the blue button. Wait a minute. What the f... Okay, so unless you're like me, and you're an absolute tool who just... Yeah, you guys like that? Look at that. You guys like that? A little bit of tilt action. Unless you're an absolute tool like me, who apparently can't read, and you get linguine noodles when it really should have said spaghetti noodles. So now I get to decide whether I want to do egg noodles on spaghetti. That was a joke. It's for chicken noodle soup. Or linguine. And if you're a normal person, you already know, we're doing linguine. We're doing it out here tonight with linguine. So yeah, that's the thing. When you come back over here, you just want to bring this water to a nice boil. Sometimes the water gets a little bit of a, what's the word? Stage fright, I guess? It's kind of like when you're a guy and you can't pee when there's other guys around. Like, it actually happens to me in public bathrooms. I don't know. Helps if I sing. I usually sing opera while I'm in the bathroom, so if you guys ever catch me, you know. Anyway, I find it helps when I got a pot of water that's got stage fright. I usually just... Wait a minute, that didn't work. I guess my snap. Alright, now that we've got our pot of water boiling and it's come to a nice boil, honestly at this point I think the most important part is putting the meatballs away. We're probably not going to need any more. Like, I'm a big boy. I actually do enjoy eating more than I probably should. But I think the 3 meatballs that we already took out, that's probably about enough. So, yeah, just go ahead and put these away. You know, just stick them right in there. Now that we got our meatballs put away, arguably the most important step is putting the noodles in the boiling water. That's where the spaghetti actually comes from. It took me a very long time to actually figure that out. Yeah, So now what we want to do is we just want to pour our spaghetti noodles, or linguine noodles, if you don't know how to read, in there. And actually, arguably, the most important step is turning this fan on right here. Focus. Okay, and arguably, the most important step is the spaghetti spoon. You see, because it does this really cool thing where you just put the spaghetti in and just push it down. And that's really cool, I think. And then arguably, the next most important step is to turn on the next boiler, because arguably what you want to do is stir your spaghetti, but you also want sauce. As you can see here, we've got some world-class spaghetti sauce from Ragu. They're actually sponsoring this video, and it is, as you can see here, it's flavored with meat. Don't read too deep into that. Don't ask me what kind of meat. I mean, what do I look like, the meat man? Yeah, you just want to dump all that in there. Probably wasn't a good idea to dump all that in there. This is a 10 serving size for one person. But at least I didn't put too many noodles in. Oh, there we go. Sounds like someone's cooking is done. As in the meatballs are... Okay. Now, arguably, the most important part is taking the meatballs out, actually. A lot of people overlook this step, and they just leave the meatballs out, and I just find that a shame. So, arguably, for me, the most important step is really just taking these bad boys out, and I'm just kidding, you guys thought I would pull the same joke twice. Nah. Just set those there, precariously. Then we can shut this. Now remember not to turn your stove off until you remember later. It's like kind of a thing. Like if you remember after dinner, it's like, what's the word? Natural selection, I guess. Like only the people who deserve to survive will. So that's really how you cook meatballs. While the noodles are cooking, the arguably most important step for all this is to take your garbage and throw it away, and not make your girlfriend throw it away like some kind of uncultured heathen. What you want to do is, and this part's really tricky, you want to hit the pedal right here, just place that stuff in there nicely. See, this is what I mean. It is tricky, but really you want to get in there and you want to be thorough about it. So the thing with linguine noodles is they take the same amount of time to cook as pretty much any other noodle. So you really got to watch for that. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Sometimes when I'm feeling really adventurous, I like to slice up a cucumber and put it in my spaghetti. That's actually, you know, ladies love the adventurous man. That's actually how I got my current girlfriend. She was all over that. But we're not going to do that this video because I'm not really adventurous. But you know, I already got the girl. No need to live my life so on the edge. But yeah, you can do that if you're brave. But if you're brave, you're probably not watching a video on how to cook your spaghetti. You just want to keep it stirred. You don't want the noodles to burn on the bottom. I know all about burned noodles. You can ask my dogs. Now if we can just hop back over to the sauce really quick, and wow, this is really loud. So the thing with this sauce is, you want to make sure it's nice and stirred. It's not really a good idea to taste test, because like I said, there's meat in it, and we don't really know what that meat is, so until it's nice and cooked, and you'll know when it's cooked, trust me. When it's nice and cooked, you can taste it, but until then, I recommend not tasting it. The last person I knew who tasted this, well, he was a pretty saucy guy, so he was alright, but I just wouldn't recommend it in good conscience. And if we come back over here, we see our pasta's doing the same shit it always does. It's just pasta, really. You just want to make sure it's nice and stirred. Now, if we go back to the meatballs, there's actually one more step that I usually forget, and it's arguably the most important one. You really have to make sure you come back here. you gotta make sure you pay the people who help you make food. So what I arguably do, and I say arguably because I don't really know if I do it or not, but what I arguably do is I just make sure they're fed. And wow, it's really boiling over here. I just got meatball grease all over my camera. That's nice. So what you want to do is you just want to make sure this is nice and stirred. Don't look at them. Just look up here. You just want to keep stirring that. And don't worry if you get a little bit of overflow. That's completely normal. So when you get like 50 minutes on this, when these bad boys are in here for about 50 minutes, what you want to do is you just want to take a little bit of that, and you want to slurp that shit up. You just want to go. That's a good noodle. So when that happens, what you just want to do is you want to take this pot, you want to take your little spaghetti stir thing out, and you want to just go just like that. You want to take this and you want to be extremely careful because it's very hot, okay? And you just want to pour that shit in the sink. Just like that. And yeah, it's going to steam a little bit, and that's okay. We don't actually pay for saunas anymore. What we do is we just cook a good old batch of spaghetti. Get that shit nice and hot, and there you go. Nice. And what you're going to want to do, and it's arguably the most important step, is you want to make sure you rinse your spaghetti with cold water. This kills the fire inside the spaghetti, and it really, shit, that's hot. And it really just makes it very nice. So next is the arguably most important step. You just want to take your meatballs over here, and by hand, obviously, you just want to just drop them in the sauce. Just little handfuls of them at a time. Doesn't really matter. They're just meatballs. They don't have feelings. Just get them all in there. Give it a nice stir. And the next step, which is arguably the most important one, so you want to just grab the pot like this, take it over to your nice noodles, and just plop it in there. Arguably, that's a very important step. Some people might tell you otherwise, but I think so. And obviously, the most important step is just leaving that like that. That's future use problem, not yours. And then just remember to turn this off if you're not an idiot. And yeah, now you've got spaghetti. Go forth and do whatever you want to do with your spaghetti. Make your friends think you're cool. You're putting 3 ingredients together. I mean, you know, the world is your oyster, as they say. So have fun and eat that spaghetti.